What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be diving into the LSU wide receiver room. So, let's go ahead and get started. 2,746 yards and 31 touchdowns. That's the number that this new wide receiver room has to replace. Those are the numbers between Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. last season. This new wide receiver room has a huge shoes to fill for productivity, but I totally believe that those guys can get it done. And so let's just take a look at who LSU has that's going to be rolling out there versus USC to start that campaign of replacing the production of Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. So first up, I think he's the leader of the wide receiver room. I think, I'm pretty sure Karen Lacey is the wide receiver room leader. I mean, he's a fifth-year senior. He's been around for a while, right? And then you have Hilton Jr. He's been there a little while. You got Aaron Anderson, and then you have C.J. Daniels, the transfer from Liberty, and of course you got Zavion Thomas, the transfer from Mississippi State. Karen Lacey is a fifth-year guy. He transferred originally from UL Lafayette. C.J. Daniels is also a fifth-year guy. He spent 4 years at Liberty University. While he was at Liberty University, he recorded over 1,900 yards and 21 touchdowns in 4 years. Zavion Thomas didn't play very much at Mississippi State, but he played in the doing a few games that he played. He was productive. A lot of his productivity came from the return game, punt and kickoff. Right, he has over 600 yards in returns and 2 touchdowns, which can be really big for LSU because it seems like over the last couple of years, LSU hasn't been able to find a guy that can impact the game, on kickoff and punt return. So looking forward to seeing what Zavion Thomas can do there, right? And when you look at social media and you look at some of the things that's coming from LSU, you'll see that, well, for one, not Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Kelly did a interview a few days ago, and he was really, really, really raving about Karen Lacey, right? So he was saying that he really admired the way how Karen Lacey has been approaching the increased responsibility as being the leader of the wide receiver room. He likes the way how Karen Lacey has practiced and has prepared and has just really approached every practice, and said that Karen Lacey, he felt like, hasn't had a bad practice yet this spring. He also talked about the wide receiver room, in general. He said he felt very, very good about them. He said he felt very confident and that they have been a very bright spot on the offense this spring so far. And so, with all that being said, you just hope that these guys can put it together when it's time for them to go against USC and get into the college football season, right? Because, again, if you look at LSU social media, you'll see that Karen Lacey is catching a lot of one-handed passes, phenomenal one-handed passes, may I add. He's also catching a lot of contested balls. You got Hilton Jr. beating guys deep. And you see the other guys like Aaron Anderson, Zavion Thomas, and C.J. Daniels also getting it in. But when you see who's running out there with the first-team offense with Nussmeier, you see that it's Hilton Jr., Aaron Anderson, and Karen Lacey. And I'm excited the most about Aaron Anderson, right? So, he was a 4-star out of Etna Carr. He ended up going to Alabama. Wasn't working out for him at Alabama. He came to LSU last season, right? He transferred in before the start of last season. And I was expecting him to be one of those guys that was going to be like a gadget player, a weapon that Jaden Daniels and Brian Kelly could use. And it just didn't materialize into that, right? Now, on the message boards and on social media, people were saying that Aaron Anderson couldn't run the route tree and he couldn't get the playbook down. And I'm going to call BS on that because if he couldn't run the route tree, he wouldn't be running out there now with the ones, right? He wouldn't be running out there as a starting wide receiver, right? It would be Zavion Thomas or it would be C.J. Daniels, right? And you also got to think not everyone is fast learners, right? So he did come from one system, being in the Alabama offensive system, to the LSU wide receiver system, and maybe it did take him a little while to learn the offense. But I got all of the confidence in the world that Aaron Anderson is going to be able to contribute big time, and I'm looking forward to him having a big season for LSU this season. Now, some may look at having all of these guys in the wide receiver room as a bad thing, but I look at it as a good thing. If I was Garrett Nussmeier, if I was a wide receiver, if I was a quarterback with all of those weapons, I mean, I would be excited. It's better to have too many weapons to have to feed than not have enough weapons to feed. So I think that the amount of guys that Garrett Nussmeier has to throw to is great. And he also has to throw the ball to, Mason Teller also. So it's a good thing. But yeah, Brian Kelly is really, 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 been expressing his admiration for, Karen Lacey and the wide receiver room. And so I think that everyone in the football program is expecting Karen Lacey and his wide receiver room to have a big season. And, they don't necessarily have to match what Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. has done, right? Everyone's different. They just have to be ready to, perform when their number is called. So, if the ball's thrown to them, make the catch, right? Don't drop the catch. And just take advantage of the opportunities that you do get when the ball is thrown your way. They don't have to feel the pressure to have to, get 2,746 yards and 31 touchdowns. But, to me, with those three guys, I'm going to make a bold prediction, and I'm going to say that those three guys, right? Well, maybe not those three guys exactly, but I got a feeling that at least three wide receivers from this LSU team is going to have 10-plus touchdowns this upcoming season. If I had to guess, I'm going to say it's going to be Karen Lacey and Hilton Jr. that's going to have at least 10 touchdowns. And it's a toss-up between the rest of the guys. But I do think that three wide receivers are going to have 10 touchdowns or more for this LSU football team. And that's just me. That's just my bold prediction. I might be wrong. But, hey, I'm feeling really confident about the wide receiver room, as you should too. All right, so that is it for me. Well, you know what? Actually, I got one more thing to say. Before I leave. I got another bold statement. I think that LSU has the potential or has one of the best wide receiver rooms in all of college football. Now, again, it's the spring, so I'm going to say that they have the potential to be. But I definitely think by the time the season is over, that when the numbers come out, LSU is going to be a top 5 wide receiver room in all of college football. Now, that's my second bold prediction. And with that, that's it for me. Again, thanks to everyone who's tuned into the channel, who's subscribed, who's supported, who's left a comment. I appreciate every one of you. But for the ones who have not subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit that like and comment button and hit that bell notification button so you can stay up to date on all the latest videos from this channel. I'm going to be making more videos about LSU and spring practice. Going to be doing something about the defensive side of the ball next. So until next time, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and I'll see you later.